Hi, this is Carl, and this is an SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about something that's a little bit different, which is what is your capacity to change and your willingness to change based on the size of your organization. Very often we get this advice from the front of the stage that sounds like, oh, everybody should be doing this, everybody should be doing that. Well, the reality is you need to understand, you need to do a little introspection and determine what is your willingness and ability to make changes within your organization that can help take you to a new level of success. So very often people will buy my books like, oh, I got the 4-volume set of books, plus I got the managed services in a month, and I got service agreements, right? I got the project management book. So, now I've got this big collection of books, takes up a couple feet of shelf space, and I need to go do all that. Well, obviously, you can't do all that. Even if you have 50 employees, you can't do all that in one day, 1 week, 1 month. So how do you organize your change? I had a very enlightening conversation with somebody recently who said, you know what your biggest competition is? Your free content. And I thought that was very enlightening. There are people who are generally one-person shops who literally, they can't do the stuff that I recommend. They can't do the stuff that other people in our industry recommend. And so the reason is they can only do one thing at a time. So if you are one of those people where you can't reorganize your pay structure, and you can't reorganize your sales offerings, and you can't reorganize your cloud offering, and you can't document everything, and right, you can't put in new policies for being prepaid, right? You can't do everything at once. Then it becomes extremely important to prioritize what needs to happen. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed with a long list of things that need to be done. Because I can give you a list of 168 things that need to be done in your business, but that doesn't mean that it will help you to have that list. You have to figure out what is the single biggest thing that needs to be done. Now, for some people, the biggest thing is going to be a pain point. It's going to be, oh, I have to get my collections under control, for example. Or I have to hire an administrative assistant. Or I have to prioritize, getting service agreements in place. Right? Whatever it might be, there is one thing that gives you more pain than everything else. So that needs to go higher on the priority list. For other people, it's not going to be a pain point. It's going to be an opportunity. It's literally going to be, I don't get my quotes out enough. I don't get quotes back to clients. They say, I want to buy a new monitor. I want to buy a whole set of printers for the office. And we don't get them a quote in a timely manner. So they go buy somewhere else, or they forget about it. So what is your opportunity that you're missing? Maybe that's the biggest thing that you need to work on. Maybe it is trying to reorganize your service agreements. Maybe it is trying to reorganize what you sell. Whatever it is, if you can only work on one thing at a time, prioritize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm sorry, but it simply is the case that you can't have everything be first priority. It won't work. It simply cannot happen. Now, larger organizations, when you get to have 5, 6, 7 people, the owner had better be taking time to work on the business. When you get to that point, the owner should not be the bottleneck for everything. But time and time again, as companies grow, I see when you have 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 employees, it's the owner who is literally the bottleneck on every single thing. When we were growing, we sort of shot past that point and went to 12 employees. But when we were at that point, my brother literally said, we're going to have a status in our system that says this is waiting on Carl. And we want to organize our system and reorganize our system until we're no longer waiting on Carl. When we get to the point where we no longer have any statuses that say waiting on Carl, then we can eliminate that status. We'll disable it in the system. Now, when you do get bigger, when you get to the 10, 12, 14 people, then you can actually do many things at once. Once you've got a team that can work without constant direction, then you can say, okay, I need you to propose a new pricing structure. I need you to propose how we're going to get paid in advance. I need you to go put this contract in front of every client and make it happen. Once you get to the point where you can delegate effectively and efficiently, then you can work on many things at once, because you can literally say, I want the person in charge of service to start documenting all of the service processes. I want the person in charge of money to start getting the contracts in place and putting out memos about what our new pricing is going to be in January, right? I want each person who has their own area of authority to be moving in a certain direction. So if you're at that point, then you can feel guilty about not making progress. Because when you get to that point, you need to be changing things in your company. There's no point in having a company grow and grow and grow and say, well, we're growing so organically that we're just going to let it keep going until it stops. Well, the problem is you're using old processes and procedures, and you must have new processes and procedures. If you think about what I've been talking about, the 1-2 person shop, the 5 to 7 person shop, and the 10, 12, 15 person shop, as you make that progression, you are a different organization. Your capacity to do things is dramatically different. And you absolutely have to be making changes in your organization. Down here, don't feel guilty if you only do one thing at a time, because that's all you can do. Just make sure you do it effectively. Over here, you should feel guilty if you're not making changes, because you are growing and you are no longer the old organization. You simply have the old processes and procedures of the old organization, and you need to make sure that they evolve as your organization evolves. So, I don't have a specific task for you today except a little introspection on what's your capacity and your willingness to make changes, and make sure that you right-size your activities based on the size of your organization. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Palchuk, wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business.